It was November 23, 1944, and the Belgian countryside lay still as Allied soldiers looked to the skies. Suddenly, they saw something extraordinary: a B-17 Flying Fortress bomber descending toward the Earth, its engines eerily humming, with no visible signs of distress. Witnesses braced for the crew's emergence, anticipating the usual flurry of activity following a crash. But instead, they were met with silence. Not a single crew member exited the wrecked aircraft. As tension built on the ground, Major John Crisp stepped forward to investigate. Inside the plane, he found a perplexing scene: half-eaten chocolate bars, untouched parachutes, and empty seats. It was as if the crew had simply vanished, leaving their bomber to complete its ghostly journey alone. But why would they abandon a functional aircraft without signaling distress? At an airfield nearby, a very different story was unfolding. The actual crew of the B-17 had already landed safely after bailing out mid-flight. Lieutenant Harold Diebolt, the pilot, later recounted the harrowing moments they had faced. Hit twice by enemy flak, the plane's engines failed one by one, and the crew had no choice but to jump. "We had been hit in the bomb bay," Diebolt recalled. "I'll be darned if I know why the bombs didn't explode." Setting the plane to autopilot, Diebolt watched as his crew evacuated before making the leap himself, leaving the plane to glide on alone. But Crisp's findings didn't completely align with Diebold's account. Diebolt had described the failure of 2 engines, yet Crisp only observed damage to one. Furthermore, the wreckage showed no apparent signs of flak damage, casting doubt on whether the plane's fate was entirely as Diebolt described. Adding to the confusion, Crisp noted unused parachutes, even though the crew had reportedly jumped out. Was Crisp simply mistaken, or did the eerie scene reveal a hidden story? Historians suggest that Crisp, lacking technical knowledge, might have misinterpreted the crash's visual cues. It's possible he couldn't accurately assess engine damage or differentiate between rough landing marks and battle wounds. The unused parachutes, in particular, could have been items hastily repacked as the crew scrambled to exit, yet this oversight only added to the air of mystery. In a war filled with high-stakes maneuvers and close calls, the Ghost Bomber incident remains one of the most inexplicable tales. This B-17, abandoned by its crew yet dutifully flying onward, seemed to defy logic. All crew members survived, a rarity for wartime bomber missions, and yet the details of that lonely flight left everyone guessing. Was it a mix of confusion and chaos? Or did the B-17 somehow take on a life of its own, guiding itself to its resting place? For soldiers and historians alike, the Ghost Bomber represents more than a bizarre war story. It embodies the strange, almost supernatural moments that seem to have a life beyond logic. There's a haunting allure in the idea of an aircraft completing its mission alone, as though honoring its crew's commitment despite their absence.